With society's endless expectations upon you and mental health and anxiety issues on the rise, finding your true authentic self can be challenging. Being your true self is a key and never a mistake because you are not a mistake. You are you, unapologetically. Join Dr. Kim R. Grimes as she creates a safe space and initiates influential conversations about you being you. Listen to discussions featuring step-by-step guides, techniques, and principles that you can sink your teeth into about uncovering your greatness, triggering a mindset shift, and living beyond your limiting beliefs. The time to connect with who you were created to be and fall madly, did I say madly, in love with you, starts now. Here's your host, Dr. Kim R. Grimes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Oh, I'm so excited. Welcome back to You Are You, Unapologetically podcast. Today is today, right? You heard me say that before, for you to walk in your greatness. Today is the day. And so I have a special guest that we're going to be discussing again, because we're still on the same topic of overcoming the challenges of self-love. And again, I want to emphasize that the reason why we're staying on this topic is because I want to share with my audience different perspectives, because we are all unique in our own way, and we deal and handle things in so many different ways. So with that, I want us to remember, like with society's rigid expectations, it can be hard to find your true identity. The feeling of being lost in today's clashing ideas, conflicting belief, COVID, and the flood of information can be overwhelming. Most people dumb down or they hide who they really are. And as a result, it pushes them just to go with the flow rather than expressing themselves authentically. There are so many opinions and ideas today that can make it hard for you to find your true self. So don't just go with what everyone else is doing, and here's why. Because it's just going to lead you down a path where your creativity gets dampened because you're trying not to show who you really are. We want you to be approved by yourself instead of, let me say that again. We all want approval from others instead of the approval of ourselves. We go to our families, our friends, our peers to get their input. But here, we want you to approve yourself. We want you to go to yourself and get the approval of yourself from within your inner core, because when you do that, it is empowering. You are you unapologetically. It means being true to yourself. It means being true to how you were created and not allowing people's opinions to affect how you show up in life. You have no time to be intimidated by the presence of others and think so little of yourself. When you show up without pretense or hesitation, the world can't dull your glamour. They can't dim your light. And most importantly, you will be inspired to shine your light, to share your light, and to help others tap into their own brilliance. So again, today, our topic is overcoming the challenges of self-love and falling madly, did I say madly? In love with who you are. My guest today is a close friend of mine, and she's special to my heart. And so, can't you tell? I am excited to bring her on. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to her formally, right? To do it the right way. And so I'm going to share a little bit about her, and I'm going to allow the rest for her, the rest of the time for her to share it about who she is herself. Her name is Elta Ampadu. She is a grief recovery specialist who helps people heal from trauma caused by adverse life experiences through intense coaching aimed at grief recovery. Elta said becoming a grief recovery specialist was the best decision I've ever made in my life, besides giving my life to Christ. As a result of the personal work that I've done, I've become a better wife, a better mom, a better friend. And she sees the world in a whole different view. She says, I'm on a mission to educate people on what grief is and to help them connect the dots so that they can be healed and break cycles. Elta envisions a world where people will learn to embrace grief in a way that brings restoration. She is the founder and CEO of E&E Consulting Firm. Elta has over 14 years of diversified clinical mental health experience. She has a multifaceted background, specializing in child and family welfare, rehabilitation counseling, hospice, bereavement, managed care case management. You guys, you know I'm excited because now my words are starting to jumble together. In addition to her love for working with youth, she does all of that. Elta has also served within the medical realm as a dialysis social worker and hospital mental health therapist. She says, I'm just a girl following my father's instructions. Isn't that amazing? Wow. So I'm not going to hold her and back from you guys any longer. Please help me and join me in welcoming Elta Ampadu to the show. Welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so good to have you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes. I truly, truly appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Dr. Kim. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this platform. And most importantly, thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And thank you for saying yes as well. It's because of your yes. That's how we were able to connect.
Absolutely. And you know what? That is a great segue into me asking you to share with the audience how we met. Please.
Oh boy, how did we meet? It's so strange of our story. I met Dr. Kim through YouTube. It's interesting because, to make a long story short, I was planning on doing some work with teens at a school in Orlando, and I needed support. I needed to find somebody who's skilled and who has what I was looking for. And I researched. I found Dr. Kim on YouTube. She was doing an interview regarding, remind me of the school that you were doing an interview.
Oh, it was with Motivating the Teen Spirit.
Yes, but your interview was your interview was in reference.
Interview was with Nikki Woods from the Tom Joyner Morning Show.
You were talking about the shooting that happened at that school.
Yes, Sandy Hook. Yeah.
Yes.
Sandy Hook. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that goes back because that's when that was the video then. Yeah.
Yes, that was that video. You were talking about that school. I love Lisa Nichols, so I've been following her for a while, and I know you connected with her. You do work with her with kids, and I have a special place in my heart. Yeah. So again, like I said, I was doing research, trying to figure the right resource, someone to help me, to support me, to go work with these youth at that school in Orlando. So to make a long story short, I researched, and I saw that interview, and you were referring to that incident that happened at the school, and everything it's like you were talking to me that I needed to hear the words to help me to put together that workshop. It was so strange, but it was God. It was God. So at the end, throughout the interview, I think it was in the middle or towards the end, you gave your phone number. And I was like, huh? She gave her phone, her personal phone number to the world. And it was around like, I think it was like 10 o'clock or something like that. And then I said, let me try the number to see if it works. And I tried the number. The rest was history. You can probably tell the story better than I can, because I sounded like a fool on the other side of the line, because I was so excited. My words couldn't come out right. I was just going, you don't know me. I found your phone number on YouTube. It was so weird, but it was very interesting. That it's weird how we connect until this day. I'm still amazed of our connection. Absolutely. And that's how we know that it was not me, it wasn't you, it was divine. Exactly. And then we're still connected and doing his work. So that's a short story.
Yes. And at the time, when you called, like you said, it was late. I was at that time working on my doctorate degree. And so I was up late, and that's how I was able to accomplish it. Because and answer the phone. So when I looked at it, I was like, who's calling me at this time? And it was just like, answer the phone. And it was you. And you're right. You were just like, you went into babble in a sense, but it was all good. I was like, okay.
Because I was surprised that you answered that it was a real number.
Exactly. And the number worked. And I was like, okay, so how can I serve you? It's all good. And it was history. And so we've been connected. I was able to go down and help the youth then. So it was so empowering. So I'm glad that when I asked you to be, to come on the podcast, I'm so glad that you said yes. So I'm honored. And so again, this is not a interview. This is more of a discussion. Mm-hmm. And the name of the podcast is You Are You, Unapologetically. And that's my stance. I want people to show up and be who they were created to be unapologetically. Yes. So let me ask you this question that will allow us to jump into our discussion. What does it mean to you? What does it mean to you when you hear you are you unapologetically? Or what does it mean for you to be you unapologetically?
That's a good question. For years, I've been, I wouldn't say struggled, but it's been a challenging thing for me. Mm-hmm. So over the years, I've been evolving and I've been growing and working on myself. What does that mean for me? And it's very simple. Having the courage to say no, even if it's appear as a good opportunity, even if it's appear as something that's going to make a life-changing experience for me, even if it's to someone who has, because we have the tendency to put those with titles or like they're in the pedestals and we're afraid to speak and say no. Mm-hmm. For me, having the courage to say no without having the regret of what people gonna think, what people gonna say, just say no and be me and be true to myself, knowing at the end of the day, yes, it may have appeared that way, but that's what I want at that moment.
Awesome. And like you were, when you're saying, thinking of what people may say, I always like to call it head chatter. Not only what people say, but what we say, right? We have that head chatter that comes in and want to have a conversation with us. And, we have to get to a point sometime to say, you know what, I'm not talking to you and I'm not going to talk to you about it. So let's move on, right?
Yes. Yes. I've had those conversations pretty often in my head. And that's one of those things that have actually helped me to learn to say no, because we worry too much about what people think. And that fear literally can cripple us, and it have crippled some of you, and it have crippled me in the past.
Oh, and you're not alone. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And so thank you for sharing that. So let me ask you this here. Now that that you shared what it means when you hear it, or what it means to you to be you unapologetically, when did you first figure out who you were, and what did that process look like for you?
So when you said who I am, your reference to the person that I am today at this present moment, because
Well, that's a good, oh my gosh, that's a good question to give back to me. So here's what I'm saying, because we evolve, right? And
yes,
so for
yes.
me, there was a time when I figured it out, and I knew that, like, I'm not that person who I am now, right? Because it took some work for me to get to where I am now. But
Mm-hmm.
I recognized at a point where, okay, there I had to stop, and really start looking at who is Kim,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what does that mean? So, but that, I'm not answering the question. You're answering the question. So let me throw it back at you. So again, when did you first figure it out? Like, who you were, right? Like,
Okay.
you can put an age on it. You can put a time. You can put if you were at a particular location. And what I would like you to share with the audience is, what did that process look like? Because it wasn't, at least for me, and I know for some of the past guests that I had on, they share it wasn't something that just happened overnight. It was a process. So that's why I'm asking.
Yes, yes, yes. Because my thoughts are all over the place with this question, because this is such a broad questions for me. So where would I go? I'll say it may sound weird, but to be honest, I've always known that um, who I am,
Mhm.
but practicing it is different.
Yes. Come on, say that again.
Yes, because growing up in the church, I know I'm a child of God. And
Hmm.
I know my God, my father is a king, and
Right.
that makes me a princess. So
Yes.
if I'm the princess, I inherit everything that my father owns.
Right.
However,
Come on.
did I literally believe it? Did I live it?
Mm.
No, not really. So um the issue for me was navigating through life challenges,
Mm.
my career, my family, ministry, not having, because one of the things that's I think that's very crucial with, whether it's youth, whether it's adults, we all need a mentor, or some form of mentor to
Mm.
guide us
Yeah.
through life issues. And
Yes.
that was one of the things that was missing for me in life.
Hmm.
So knowing who I am, I knew who I was from a spiritual perspective, but practicing it, no. So discovering, putting it into practice,
Right.
it started, I would say, probably 4 years ago.
Hmm.
It started about
Okay.
4 years ago.
Wow.
And
Okay. Yes.
it has been a really, 4 years ago, I'm from looking back 4 years ago to today, I am completely, when I say completely,
Come on.
my face may look different, my physical appearance, but as far as my mind, the spiritual level, the way I view people, the way I see people, the way I interact with people, as a mom, as a wife, everything that I come in contact with, I'm a complete different person.
Yes.
Um, and how did I get to that part?
Yes.
And
That
I
was.
think that's probably the questions that you want me to answer,
Yep.
right?
I just called
Yes.
it a process. Exactly.
Yes. Yes. How did I get to that part? Um, I'm going to try my best to make this very short.
That's
um,
fine.
for some people, they may say it's an accident, but for me as a believer, it was divine intervention. It was
Mhm.
directed. It was direction through God. So November 2018, I will never forget that time. November 2018. Whew, never knew I was going to end up in this where I am today. November 2018, I was voluntold. Notice I say voluntold. I didn't
Voluntold. I like
volunteer
that
for.
word. Right, right, right. I
Yes,
was voluntold. No, go do
by my
this.
by my husband, by my husband, to do a grief workshop. Actually, it was like a more self-development workshop
Okay.
focusing on depression and anxiety at our church.
Yes.
They had several different types of topics, but for me, I was covering depression and anxiety along with another social worker. Now, guess what, Dr. Kim?
What?
You know how I found out? He didn't even tell me that he was gonna put me on the list to do it.
Oh,
I found out through the flyer.
I can see you now reading the flyer and you see your name like, what?
That's exactly what I did. That's exactly what I did. I was sitting at church and I saw the flyer. I'm like, what is this? And I was so mad. I was mad. I was fueled. And knowing me, not that he put me on the flyer without my consent, but it's the fact that if anyone who knows me, I'm not the upfront person.
Right.
I'm the behind the scene type of girl. Right. Give me I'll clean the toilet for you. I'll sweep the floor. I'll do everything. How many of y'all can relate? Yes. I'll go in the kitchen. I'll do everything, but to step up to do a presentation, I said, no way. I'm not doing that. Right. But then you know what? I was so afraid of saying, because I'm his wife, I'm the pastor's wife. I said, I can't say no to this. It won't look good. Again, remember about what people think, right? Yep, exactly. It won't look good. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna have to bite that bullet. So we went ahead and we did that. It was about, I think it was like 4 to 6 sessions, but about 4 to 6 weeks, every Saturday. So we do those sessions. So, and then the thing is that made me even more frustrated. Only 2 people signed up for my workshop.
Ooh. So that workshop really wasn't for, not to say it wasn't for them, it was really for you.
Let me get to the story and you'll find out. Only 2 people signed up for the workshop. And I had a talk with God. I said, what is this? Out of all these people, you tell me nobody's having issues with anxiety and depression or any mental health issues? Okay, I said, okay, don't focus about the numbers. You know how they always say, don't worry about the numbers, just focus. Even if it's just 1, just go ahead and do it. So I went ahead and did it. And at the end of the series, I saw the transformation. And I had this sense of fulfillment that I've never had before.
Wow.
I really, honestly, I cannot explain it. Right. It's not like I've never done these type of groups before, but for some reason that one was different.
Wow.
So what I did was I said, okay, God, because I had over the years, I've been praying. I said, I'm tired. I'm tired of being in this field. I'm tired of feeling overwhelmed. I'm tired of working for agencies who don't care about people. It's all about numbers. The paperwork is ridiculous. I was burned out from social work.
Oh, and I know our audience can relate to this as well. Go ahead, keep going.
Yes. So I was like, I'm tired. So then we did the workshop, the series, and I just had this sense of fulfillment. And I said to God, I said, Lord, if this is what you want me to do for the rest of my life, I need you to provide me with something, some type of resource, some type of curriculum. Because when we did it, along with the other social worker, I did it based on my professional background, and I shared some personal experiences that I've gone through. So it was just nothing major, something basic to my eyes. So I did the research and I found the grief recovery. Everything about that program spoke to me. Yes. And I looked at the price. It was at that time, it was $2,100. And I was like, $2,100 for a certification? That's a lot of money. And we were not in a financial situation for us to spend that much money just on a certification. Right. So my husband is the one that takes care of the finances. So I prayed to God, and this is true. I pray to God and I said, Lord, if that's what you want me to do, I need you to, when I go to him, I need him to not ask any questions, or because he takes care of the finances. He has no issues supporting me in my career. But when it comes to big numbers like that, we will sit down, analyze, is it worth it? Because the timing is not right. But when I went to him, he said, no problem. It was like a 5 seconds conversation.
Wow.
He said, no problem. I will pay for it out of my pocket.
So
I said,
God
okay,
beat you to him, right?
yes, he sure did. But then I prayed, remember, before
Right.
I
That's
went
what
to
I'm
him.
saying. That's what I'm
Yes,
saying. Right. You prayed and God
yes.
beat you to
Yes, and I prayed.
him.
So he said, I'll pay for it out of my pocket. So I registered and I went. Now, Dr.
Wow.
Kim, I thought I went to get a certification
Wow.
for additional education to help people,
Yes.
but it was for me.
Come on. Come
It
on.
was for me.
Mm.
That program changed my life.
Wow.
I did not realize, and you know, hey, I'm a therapist, I'm a social worker. I've been in this thing for 14 years. Shouldn't I know all this stuff?
Right.
But that's to tell you we don't always know everything.
Mhm.
Just because you're a physician, that doesn't mean you should have the perfect health.
Absolutely.
Just because you're a dentist, that doesn't mean your dental hygiene should be perfect.
Right.
It just,
Exactly.
yeah. And
Right.
we beat ourselves so much of things we're not able to do because we have this title, because we can't do certain things, which is wrong.
Right.
Because
Right.
we need each other in order for us to heal and to go through life issues. You can't
Absolutely.
do it alone. You can't do it by yourself.
Mm-mm.
I did not realize how much grief I had
Wow.
related to my career.
And so what you're saying, you did some self-work. Like this training that you went into was the self-work that you did. Okay, keep going. I just wanted to interject that, but go ahead.
Yes. I did not realize, and this is, sorry, this is taking a little longer because this story
okay.
is so important, because I want
Yes.
people to understand how God works and what this program can do for them. So it was a life-changing experience for me. I did not
Wow.
realize how much grief I had around moving, because we move very frequent. I can never keep a job for so long. My resume looks very unstable. As soon as I have the quote unquote perfect job, thinking, hey, that's going to be retirement, we're doing good financially, boom, it's time to get up and move.
Wow.
I did not realize how much that was affecting me. I didn't realize how much grief I had towards my childhood. I didn't realize how much grief I had as a mom,
Come
even
on.
raising your children, watching them going through life issues. I did not realize how much grief I had around ministry. It is so much that was underneath this woman named Elta not being aware what was going on. That was a life-changing experience for me. It was eye-opening. Now here's where the story gets even, that's not a word, but goodier. It's not a word, but I just
It's okay. We can create these words. Like, we're being ourselves here. That's why you are you unapologetically. You can create words. Absolutely. You can say things, which I always do. I get it all wrong, but I'm like, oh, my bad. Said it wrong, but this is what I meant to say. And you keep it going. So, gooder, is that what you said? Goodier?
Goodier. But here's the thing. November 2018, that's when I did that workshop. February 2019, November, pay attention to the dates. November 2018 is when I did the workshop. February 2019, a few months later, that's when I got my certification.
Like 3 months, yeah.
April 2020, that's when we shut down.
Come on, girl. Come on now.
Due to COVID. Due to
COVID, yes.
And I had no idea. I get just chills just talking about it. I had no idea. God was preparing me for this time that we're living in as a grief recovery specialist.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And so, thank you so much for sharing that, because you were saying, hey, well, you were voluntold to go and do this, right?
Yes.
You found out by looking at a flyer. And for those, I know you mentioned your husband was a pastor. I mean, not was a pastor, is a pastor. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. And so, like you said, worrying about what other people think, you went and it was in this training that changed your life forever. And it was what prepared you for such a time as now, where we're talking about self-love, mental health, and COVID just reeked, like just Oh my goodness. I spoke about how COVID-19 and discrimination is having a horrible impact on our young people when it comes to mental health. And so I'm excited that God took you through that process so that you can be here and sharing and sharing. That was a powerful story. So what would like you to share is, so here we are, we're trying to deal with ourselves, trying to be our true selves when we're in a world who is trying to shape us into something else. And then, like we said, we had COVID-19 and the world that we knew dissipated. So
Yes.
share with our audience, how can they be true to themselves in such a time as this, when they have so much coming against them, especially mental health?
Yes. Actually, that's fantastic. That's a really, really, really good question. And I actually just did a presentation not too long ago regarding social media in the mental health world. And Dr. Kim, we were never created to interact the way we're doing right now.
No, absolutely not. Because the touch, but go ahead, the touch by itself.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
but go ahead.
No, go.
Just the human touch.
Yes.
Just the human. Take a moment, for our listeners, just take a moment today and intentionally stop and touch someone in your house. Just touch them and see their reaction. The touch is powerful. It is so powerful. So you're right. We weren't created for this, what we're doing here. We're created to be in each other's presence. But go ahead. I want you to share.
Yeah, so social, there's nothing wrong with this setting. However,
right,
it has taken over to the point where we've neglected, what's your name?
Right.
How are you? Can I get a hug? Can I talk to you without doing this?
Yes.
Can I just go to work and come home without bothering with my phone? And when I talk to you and you tell me, I text you this morning and I haven't heard from you. What's the urgency? Because it's designed in a way that we're always in a rush. We're always, all these buzzing sounds on our phone. It's kind of like it creates this sense of urgency. We're always rushing. Our heart is always racing. We don't communicate anymore. We don't talk to each other anymore. We live on we're so anxious all the time.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with being anxious, because God created us that way so we can be on alert and survive when we're going through a crisis. But when that becomes your lifestyle, that's where the issue is.
Yes.
So to answer your question is, how do we take control of ourselves when we live in a world that's literally constantly trying to shape us?
Yes.
To me, the first thing I do is education is freedom. Education is freedom. Educating ourselves and help takes control of our lives. So I use social media, like I said, as an example. We all know the statistics. It's out there. Just Google social media with mental health. It's increased depression, increased anxiety, increased suicide rates, low self-image. It's huge. It's the facts are there and it's there. And what makes it even worse, social media, and when I'm referring to social media, I mean all of them: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, every single one of them.
Right.
They were intentionally, on purpose, created to do just that. Exactly. So by you having that awareness, and by the way, if you don't believe me, go watch the documentary on Netflix. It's called Social Dilemma.
Okay.
It's called Social Dilemma. Yes, okay. It's an eye-opening. It will show you exactly what's behind social media. Okay. You know, that sense of urgency that that we get when we hear that ding sound on our phone. We want to
Yes.
go quickly and go check what it is.
Right.
It's literally controlling us. That was intentionally to do that. So by
Absolutely.
us educating ourselves, we can take control of the world trying to control us. Guess what? What I've done for me personally, I turn off my notifications.
Oh,
That was
yes.
a life-changing experience for me. I
Okay.
get to the phone when I can get to it.
Yes.
And I was talking to someone, I always say to my friends, I remember those times, remember when you used to go to work, that you'll come home and you haven't checked your answering machine. You remember those answering machine time?
Yes.
You have to go and
Yes.
check them. You
Yes.
haven't checked your answering machine, but you get a phone call from your girlfriend. They say, girl, I left you a voicemail. Did you check it? And your girlfriend said, no, I didn't check it. And guess what? We're all good. We go about our day. I haven't checked it yet. And you just start talking. But now somebody sent you a text. You don't respond right away. Oh, and then depending on how your phone is set up, if they see that you read the message, oh, I see you read my message and you didn't respond. And then people start taking things personal.
Right.
So you are absolutely right. It's designed to control us, and it is so not healthy. So taking control of your notifications, taking control of when to bring the phone to the table.
Yes.
Be intentional about these things.
Yes.
I said, the buzzing and the beeping and the ginging sounds on your phone, taking control of even when you use the bathroom.
Yes.
Put the phone away.
Right. You talking to me.
We all do it. We all do it. I do it too.
Exactly. And so, no, thank you for that. As you were speaking, and you were talking about us being busy, what I heard, being busy. And I say that all the time, being busy. I heard that we don't stop. I heard that you said we don't stop and get present with one another. So that's why we're missing. We don't stop and acknowledge the person in the room with us. So many of us are surrounded by our loved ones in our homes, and we still feel alone. We still feel isolated. We feel like we're by ourselves because we are missing that one piece of learning how to get present with one another. And I remember when I did the workshop with you, with the girls, that was one of the first things that, we put them into an exercise and taught them how to get present with one another, to the point where we can just say, hey, can you get present with me? And they knew exactly not only what we were talking about, but what it looked like for them. Right. Yes. And being present isn't just, giving eye contact. It's like being present in the moment with that person. That person, and being able to listen, which is a skill that like a muscle. Listening is a muscle that must be built, right? Yes. You have to build up that muscle, because if not, that's going to be that's something that you're not going to be good at, right? We can hear all day, but listening is totally different. And so those are the things that I hear you saying, that you're providing advice to the listeners, and saying here, these are some of the things that we have to implement intentionally. I'm going to put together a podcast that talks about rest, that talks about Sabbath, right? And it's not a religious thing. It's really it's going to talk about how we no longer rest. Think about this, and I'm going to ask you the next question. Our heartbeat, it rests between beats. When we breathe, we rest between an inhale and an exhale. Rest is purposeful in our lives. And so we see things and what you just shared, things that are taking away those things that was meant for us, so that we can spend the time with not only our loved ones, but with ourselves as well. You opened up and shared how you spent time did the work on you. I'm here sharing about You Are You unapologetically because I did the work on me, and I realized that it required work.
Yes.
It required
Yes.
me doing the work. I didn't get here just because I wanted to be here. I had to do the work. And I'm here as a result of the work that I put into me. And so what we're saying is that it's going to require some work. What I do may be a little different from what you do, but the purpose of this podcast is to provide techniques. It's to provide guidelines or techniques, guidelines, exercises for the audience so that where you are right now, you can implement some of this work. And so thank you, Elta. Thank you so much. Your story is so empowering. What I want to ask you is you shared, well, let me just say this. A couple of questions that I wanted us to discuss, you already answered. And so I'm not going to ask.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No,
sorry,
go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off, but before you go into the next question, you said
Please.
something that was very powerful.
Okay.
In reference to our heartbeat rests between what? I want you to repeat that because I'm going somewhere with it.
Right. Well, I said our heartbeat, it rests in between the beats.
Yes. Our heartbeat rests in between the beats. I just had an aha moment. Here's what happens. Anxiety has gone over I don't know. I stopped keeping up with the statistics since COVID.
Oh my. Yes.
It is ridiculous. When you're anxious, when you have a normal heartbeat, it rests, right?
Yeah.
But when you're anxious, you have increased anxiety, it never rests. And it has an effect on your physical health. It's not just that mental piece that you're going through. It also has an effect on your mental health, and it also has an effect on your spiritual health. So you're wondering why you're always tired. Your heart is never resting.
Come on.
You wonder why you're always tired. If you have difficulty sleeping, so think about it. A healthy person whose mind is peaceful doesn't rest. Well, when they wake up, they're cranky. So imagine you're experiencing that increased anxiety, your heart never rests. And then guess what? Lack of sleep, that makes it worse. Plus, if you're having health challenges, mercy. So I just wanted to paint a picture to help you understand the effects of rest and how it, because you just I just had a big ha moment when you said your heart rests. Because if you have anxiety issues, depression, it's all connected. So you're not abnormal if you're feeling this way. It's because there are things that needs to be dealt with. There are things that needs to be healed in order for you to become whole and for your heart to rest.
Absolutely. So you gave us so much, and thank you so much. I'm here just eating up everything that you're giving, and I'm getting full. So, and I know our listeners are getting full as well. What I would like for you to do is, and like I said, my question that I was going to ask you is, well, what advice? And I asked, what advice can you leave? So I would like you to give some final words, and after you give your final words to our listeners, please share with them how they can get in contact with you. Share with them how they can get in contact with you, because there's someone out there who needs you. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. I know they need you. And because you already said the numbers are off the charts. And so please give our audience, those last, sweet tidbits or words that you would like to leave them with. To help them where they are right now, because that's the thing. We have to meet people where they are right now. We don't have time to wait for them to get to a certain point. Let's meet them where they are right now. If you can do that, and then please, we cannot end this podcast without you sharing. How can someone get in contact with you that would like to reach you? Hey, be bold like I did and gave out my telephone number, right? And by the way, that number is still the same. So you shoot me an email. It's in my signature block, and there's no shame whatsoever. So please, go ahead.
Yes. You've been hurting all too long. Life is not created to be this way. Especially if you're a Christian, you're in the church, we're taught to, I'm going to pray about it. I'm going to give it to God, and it'll be all fine. And hear me out. I'm not doubting God, because he's our source of strength. He's the only source that can help us to go through what we're going through. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that God gives us resources. So with God, plus the resources, depending on how deep the pain is, you're going to need that extra support. You've been struggling for too long. Well, they tell you you've had this childhood issues that you've been battling with. They tell you time heals all wounds. That's the biggest lie. Time does not heal. Time will only heal with some work and effort on your end.
Yes.
So find a community. If you can't find a community, reach out to me. I'm here to support you. Dr. Kim is here to support you. Yes. We have resources. So first thing first, give it to God. Say, I can't do it anymore. If you're listening, you're not a believer, whatever that source of power that you get, just, I can't do it anymore. Because we all know we can't go through life on our own.
Right.
So you give it to him. And then find that extra support, because I always use this analogy. I always do. If your leg is broken, you wouldn't sit there and wait for it to heal. You seek doctors plus pray for God to heal it. So if you do the same thing for your broken heart, you've been suffering for too long with depression and anxiety as a single mom trying to raise your children, breaking generational curses, relationship issues, financial issues, career issues. COVID has brought so much pain. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be this way. Trust me. Mm-mm. Find some support. You can't fight it on your own. I had the mentality that I can do it by myself. I've always had it since I was young.
Yes.
But I learned the hard way. You cannot. Yes. It's impossible. Yes. So what you're experiencing, and I'm going to use that word, it may sound weird, but it's normal. If you didn't feel the way you're feeling right now, of all of these things that you've gone through and still going through, trying to navigate life, you wouldn't be normal.
Right.
So what you're feeling is absolutely normal. So seek some help. Find a community. The best way you can reach me, go to my website. It's eltaampadu.com, ELTAAMPADU.com. You'll have all the resources that you need. You can even Google my name, the same thing, Elta Ampadu. Go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you'll find me. And I will be like Dr. Kim. Let's see, phone number 561 418-1114. You notice I'm looking down, right? We don't memorize phone numbers anymore. That's another bad thing.
Well, I memorize. I do know mine without my phone. It's 757-897-8964. And so we're being bodacious about it because we're serious. We are serious about changing lives here on You Are You. We want to put an end to this disparaging mindset.
Yes.
That we have here. And so thank you so much, Elta. I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you. I am so giddy every time I do this. I host a guest and we have a conversation. I'm giddy because, for a time, I just didn't think this was something that I need to do. And so I didn't do it. And so now that I'm doing it, I'm just like, yay! I'm just so excited.
Yep.
Whew. And so, like, I get amped after every guest. And so I'm hoping that my listeners are amped just like I'm amped. But I just want to take a moment and say thank you so much for you being here, for you sharing, for you pouring into the listeners like you did, and being you, right? Being you. And so thank you again and again. And you guys, she provided you with the information and her telephone number. Please be sure to reach out if you need her. I have information on her as well. So if you feel free to reach back to me, and we will definitely connect you with Elta. You've blessed us tremendously. And for that, we are so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you guys again for tuning in with us today. You are you, unapologetically. And like I was saying before, we're putting an end to this disparaging mindset. And we want you to begin to own your authentic self. So that's what this environment is about, a safe space, initiating influential conversations about you being you. That's why we're here, because you are you unapologetically. And I'm going to encourage you to be you every time, every opportunity that I can. And here's why. Because I know that no one, absolutely no one, absolutely positively, no one is better at being you than you. So be you unapologetically. That's it for now. Look forward to seeing you guys on our next episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode. May this transformational discussion shift your mindset so you can live in possibility, so you can step higher in your greatness and stand bolder in your brilliance. Do not wait another minute. Start now to uncover your greatness and begin to fall madly, did I say madly, in love with you. The journey to unleashing and owning your true self doesn't end here. Be sure to subscribe to the show at KimRGrimes.com. Leave a rating and gear up for more conversations like this one. See you on the next episode. And remember, you are not a mistake. You are you, unapologetically.